Here we are again, another Saturday where, what can I say? There's a lot of stuff going on with the job and with crazy coworkers and all the different attempts I've made at making things, which are always pleasant to recount. I guess we can start with some good news. I always receive an update on what my schedule will look like 2 weeks in advance. So we're going into the second week of August, which means that they sent me yesterday the second, or rather, excuse me, the fourth week of this month. And for the last few weeks, I've been getting 4 shifts, right? So like working 4 days out of the week, and this was a marked improvement from what I was receiving at the end of last at the end of the month before last, where it was like 2 shifts, and then there was a whole week where they didn't use me at all. And right now, it seems that they're going to give me 5 days of work for the first time in I think 3 months, 4 months, and to say I'm satisfied with that would be an understatement. I'm there's a lot of stuff I don't necessarily like about the job, the distance, the way some of the people treat me. Um, but I've always told myself that in anything we do, there are parts of it that you don't like. And you just have to not necessarily accept that, but just know that there's always, in most things that involve other people, going to be parts you don't enjoy or might not be the biggest fan of. So I think whenever that is taken into account, you're a lot less likely to be disappointed. But no, this is great news because I have gone, I think 5, yeah, again like 3 4 months without having any update of this kind. Like it's been pretty surreal to just see how everything has gone. I'm getting used more and more. I got 4 shifts for these past, I think, again for this past month, and now 5. So that's a nice change of pace. I was going to mention that with documentaries and just with videos where you have to edit stuff, I'm always like, I kind of got to this point where I was just like pumping out content, right? Like a lot of these other news channels do. And I've always accepted that I will, for the foreseeable future, be smaller than most of them. But I don't know if maybe, I think it has a lot to do with just when you sit down and write something and edit it and all the rest of that. I get more annoyed with people just like not saying anything. Um, there's a person who I met about 2, 3 months ago. And I remember when they first stumbled across me on some other site, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll watch the your LBJ documentary. Yeah, yeah." And as far as I can tell, they have made no attempt. So after having that happen, because I just said whatever, it's one person. People say things they don't mean all the time. I'm more used to that than a lot of others, just with some of the stuff I've had to deal with in my personal dilemmas, if you could say. But I just accepted. Okay, well, they said one thing, did something else. It is what it is. But then after I do the Nixon one, who they are like this supposed like big fan of, um, and I've been hyping this up or talking about wanting to do it now since at least this summer. And when I say this summer, I should say like May, early June. Just it's been like it's a video that's been at least a few months in the making. It's something I've wanted to do for at least, for years. But I was like, okay, I've got some books now and I can finally sit back, take these, compose the script, and, you know, actually create the content that I've been desiring to do for so long. Um, I put this video up almost 1 week ago today. It's Saturday. This was last Sunday when it was released. Um, that particular day is not one I enjoy all that much, but I said I'm going to at least mark the occasion with a video that's very important to me. So I put this up. A day passes, they say nothing, and whatever, whatever. I'm used to putting stuff up. People don't say anything. That in and of itself doesn't bother me. But then 2 more days pass, they don't say anything. A few more days pass, they don't say anything. And then when they're on this other side, when they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch it when I get the time," and I'm just there thinking to myself, there was another guy who, when I did LBJ Part One, I sent him the link, and he was like, I think we spoke maybe a week or 2 weeks later. He's like, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to. And I had an interaction with him probably about a month ago, within the last like 5 or 6 weeks. And now he doesn't even remember what my channel is. And of course, no update on if he actually saw the one damn video that I wanted him to watch out of any of them. But I guess what all this is to say is that I have gotten to a point where I'm so desensitized to believing people when they say something, like when they tell me they're going to do something, I just don't buy it anymore. Um, that I almost, I almost don't even think there's a point to trying to, say, hey, this thing you wanted me to do, I just put it out. Hey, there's this new thing that I put out that you said you wanted to watch or whatever. I'm kind of at that junction now where just as this person says they're gonna watch, Nixon Part One when they get time, or it's already been almost a week, and I've seen people where they say they're going to watch something and they never do it. There was a guy who I had a falling out with because back when I used to make my show, he said he would watch one of the episodes of it, and a whole month passed. And then he said something to the effect of, I don't watch animations on or YT animations or some kind of crap. And I was pissed because here's a must be 15, 16, 17, 18 minute video. And you have this person who for an entire month, they just keep equivocating. Oh, I'm so busy. I'm going to school. Oh, I'm so busy. I'm doing this. And you see this person online all day long. So you kind of, again, as maybe after a few days, a week, okay, give them a little leisure, but a whole month just passes and you see that they're on here. And I always have to adopt certain mindsets with stuff so I'm not disappointed. Like, if you tell yourself nobody's going to watch something, then at least you won't be as surprised or upset when they are true to that belief of yours, even if you don't want them to be. And like I said, these aren't random people. These are individuals who claim to be into the same things I'm in, or claiming that they want to support me, but they can't even watch a singular video. Didn't ask them to watch 10 or 20 or 30 or 50, just one video. Comes out maybe once a month, if not even less than that. They can't even do it. But yeah, I'm pretty confident that what'll probably end up happening is at some point in September. I don't think it'll be this month because part two is going to be, you know, as per the usual, uh, twice the length of part one. But at some point next month or in October, I prefer it to be next month or even this month. But I'm not going to be, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I have this window into the future. I'm going to do part two. And when part two comes out, this same person is most likely going to still have not seen part one, or they're going to say that they saw it and then not leave a comment because that's what they do. Um, and we're gonna. It's. I mean, this is part of what caused me to just give up on doing FDR, where it's like you go and you write some 10-page script, you wait for somebody to leave a comment, and just month after month, nobody can say anything. I said, man, you know what? Yeah, you can't ask for anything from people, even things that cost them nothing. Like people want to donate whatever, that's fine by me, but even writing a comment is like just so tough. Comment on stuff that they claim they like. you you see the inability. It's just too tough. Yeah, I had a feeling that would happen. I put my glasses on. I had a lot of because my hair is still wet from washing it. I'm telling you, it's just it's crazy. Like people are they're interesting. That's all I can say. But yeah, I'd say that the order now is to do Nixon Part Two, and after that, either Nixon Part Three or LBJ Part Seven. Um, when I did Johnson Part Six, I kind of just wanted to like rest a little bit because it was the longest part. It was, the last one before we get to the stuff that people are mostly interested in, and also, as I've discussed before, because Robert Caro's fifth volume apparently isn't going to come out until after I'm deceased or until we're all deceased. I said, well, at this point, the only book I have that I can really use for most of that video is going to be Daleks, which is not as all encompassing. Like, I just keep imagining volume five of the Caro series. Like, sometimes I'm just sitting there, I'm like, man, this book, he said it's going to be, I think, 1,000 pages long. I believe him because Master of the Senate was 1,000 pages long. I was like, this book's going to be 1,000 pages long, and it's going to be the entire presidency of LBJ after the first 7 weeks and the post presidency years, which are, that couldn't be anywhere. That's probably like 40 pages, 50, 60, some singular number because he was only out of office for 4 years before he died. But I was like, man, we are never getting this. Like, the last volume came out 12 years ago. The last volume came out when Obama was president. And now it's sad that we can't get things quicker. This person asked me what other presidents would I consider doing documentaries on. I said, oh, there's quite a bit. I mean, in terms of contemporary ones that aren't in my top 10, but I'd still be interested in doing. Carter, most certainly. He actually had a bit of a resurgence in like those last couple of years before he went into hospice care, where a lot of biographers were just coming to him and asking questions and writing books and whatnot. And I have a few of them. But if we're talking about like top 10, right, like the ones that I just really either think are interesting or important, in some objective way, um, probably because like with Washington, people know who he is, but they don't really know that much about him. Um, that's something I've discovered more and more just in talking to people, like, what do you know about George Washington? Like, you don't really hear them able to describe things besides just he was the first president. It's like, okay, uh, anything else? And I know that I had Ron Chernow's book on him, and I haven't gotten around to reading it yet, which is frustrating to admit. But I'm always just going through so many different books that I, start reading a little bit of, and then transition to something else. I mean, I still have my. I think at this point I have 3 books on Robert E. Lee. Is he someone else I would consider doing a biography of? I guess a documentary of, I should say. Only regret I have is I don't have more bookmarks. Um, I was about 50 something pages into this, and so far I've been enjoying it. I'm very, because what I want to do is just read through the Corda. I just have a weird, feel weird pronouncing that last name, but the Corda book, and then after going through that one, I'll go through Emery Thomas's book, and then decide which one would be my main, source of information concerning his life. But yeah, Washington would be one. Definitely not the first one I do. Uh, and Jefferson. Jefferson is one of only 2 of the 10 I'd be the most interested in doing that I can't do because the authoritative series on him is like 6 volumes long, and I just don't have the resources to get those at this point. Um, if I'm going in, I guess, chronological order, then you would transition to Jackson, who I find interesting as the first Democrat, the Trail of Tears. I had what's the name of that author? Um, who is he? Who is he? Who is he? I had a book on Jackson that I could probably use. I don't have it with me right now, but yeah. But I just know out of that top 10 presidents, again, this is my opinion. The only 2 I couldn't do documentaries on for like lack of having books on them are TR, because I wanted the Edmund Morris series with like the 3 volume trilogy, and Jefferson. Those only 2. Everybody else I could do. But no, it's been such a fascinating week in terms of just the way people have been acting. I mentioned having like this one manager that was cheating me out of a discount, and how, they started like not saying anything to me. And I said, maybe if I didn't feel so righteous in my disillusion with the idea that you could work somewhere and have someone try to, do that to you, I'd feel bad. But considering we already had Mixed Signals Queen play the same stunt, what is that? Going all the way back since February. I don't care. They cannot talk to me if they don't want to. It doesn't bother me. Like, I would prefer in a perfect, utopia when it comes to just jobs, to like get along with everybody, or at least have like a working relationship. Hey, how are you? Can you do this for me? And I always do the things that I'm asked to do at these places, right? No matter who asks me. But I found out a long time ago, again back in February, that there are just some people who, if they want you to be their enemy or someone that they don't get along with, they will cause that. It's not something I enjoy, but it is something I've accepted because I don't control the insanity of those around me. Hmm. There's always a little tinge of just craziness with these people. I mean, I really do see that now more probably than ever in any point in staying there. Just whether it's the people that take the breaks in the freezer, the ones that are supposed to get like a little bit of food and get a whole bunch of it so that the rest of us can't have any of it, or them throwing away stuff that is perfectly good just so that their employees can't take it home and eat it and actually give it a secondary purpose. Just we've seen the whole parameter. Or I guess, yeah, I was right the first time. Parameter of just insanity from this place. So I'm never too shocked anymore. It's always something weird going on. Oh boy. Also, me and my friend last Tuesday went to go see Deadpool and Wolverine, and I have to say I enjoyed it. I maintain what I said before. It is a stunt by Marvel to recuperate their losses. Um, but for what it was, like a little multiverse story, I thought it was fine. You know, had some nice jokes. It's always nice to see Hugh Jackman again, even if people thought it would be the last time. But I digress. I guess what I'm more interested in kind of going over is how I had one person who was saying that they thought it was sad that it's like this is all it takes for these companies to be able to make some money. And I said the way I've always looked at it is if a company makes something that there's not an audience for, that like people reject or like we don't want this. If that company chooses to have a semblance of thought in terms of okay, we tried this isn't working, let's go with something. You could say it's safe, you could say it's reliable, but let's go with something that we're confident people are going to be receptive to. If that gets them to create something that is more well received, I just don't see who's losing here. I mean, the reality is the world, at least when it comes to entertainment, works through business and money, right? So when something like the Marvels or Ant-Man 3 just flops, right? Nobody wants to go see it. It's considered bad or whatever the reason is people don't see it if you even if you liked it. When that stuff flops or doesn't do well, and the response by the corporation who that makes this stuff is okay, well, you know what? That didn't do good, so let's make a Deadpool sequel and we'll have Wolverine in there too. If that causes them to make something that people like and are entertained by, I see it as a win-win. The fans are getting what they want, or at least something close to that, and the studio is making a profit from actually giving the fans a thing that they'll turn out for. Just like I would be the first one to let you look at Sony, right? Look at let Venom 3 bomb, let Morbius bomb, Madam Web, all that trash just go to the wayside if it means they sit back and they go, you know what? To hell with it. Let's ask Raimi if he wants to do Spider-Man 4. Like I'd be the first one to jump on board with that belief system. If what it takes is for all of this garbage that nobody wants to see to just keep failing and failing and failing for us to get something that people are actually excited for, sign me up. I always remember when Sony, was it Sony? I think it was Sony. But when Ghostbusters 2016 came out, and everyone talked about how, just insane it was to try remaking the first movie with a bunch of women, like just how weird it was. Like, why not just make an original movie? Why does it have to be all women? Just stuff that like a lot of people thought was weird, right? And when that movie was a box office bomb, right, didn't break even. Sony cut the budget in half. They made a sequel to the second movie, right? Brought back the original cast to actually play their characters again, and it actually turned a profit. It got better reviews. Didn't make as much money, but it didn't matter as much because again they cut the budget in half, so it did break even, and they were able to get another sequel after that. So again, it's like if people protesting garbage, right, causes one of these studios or um, corporations to say, okay, we have to take a step back here and recalibrate. What can we make that people actually want to watch? If that's what causes them to go, okay, you know what, we'll go and make this thing that we know people will go see. What's the problem? Serious. People have to talk with their wallets, just like on YouTube. People talk with what they watch. You go and you make a video on, I don't know, uh, it could be some actor, and let's say you get 100 views. Okay, well, people, some people watch that, but then you go and you make a video on, let me just draw the name, Beyonce, right? And then people, you get 2,000. It's like, okay, well, people spoke with their views. They want to see more Beyonce stuff. So, and of course, you don't have to, right, adhere to what they want, but a lot of people who are trying to actually become something off this site will pay attention to that and go, what are they most receptive to? Just like I know for a fact that when you put MTG's name in a video, that lady will generate attention. Her name is part of the algorithm of this site. I've had like at least 4 videos with her name in the title do better than just normal content that I make. It's not a coincidence. It's that one lady, you just put her name in the title, and there's like a much higher chance people will watch it that people who've never seen anything you've made before. Because again, the algorithm is like has her name set up as something that people will click on. Doesn't mean I like it. Doesn't mean I know why that's the case. But it is what it is. Oh boy. But yeah, I'll see about what happens this week. I always try to do at least one edited video per week. Sometimes I just don't get to because there's a lot of stuff going on with these places. I just know that after a few more probably weeks, I'll be able to crank out some of this stuff. Like I am trying to do the weird men video. I just you have to sit there, gather the screenshots, you know, read out everything they wrote, read out your response to it. So I just need a few. I guess what's frustrating is the way this tends to go is I only get like one day really off. Um like Monday work, and then you get the day after that off, and then just for the next several days work, and then the weekend was like 2 days, and then except uh Saturdays probably like starts off with a stream, so you're not going to get up until probably the afternoon, and there's like some errands to run. It's hard to just sit down and be able to focus on something as much as you'd like, as much as I'd like. So That's the reason why it's harder to do this stuff than it might appear. And trust me, I know no one wants to make things and create stuff as much as me. I just like I said, just been getting a lot of like time with the job. I mentioned before the distance also makes it to where like, it's even longer. Like, I mentioned uh getting up at like keep saying like I'm a valley girl. But if I have a shift that starts at 3, I'll leave at like 12:30. Um if I have a shift that starts at 5, I'll leave around 2:30, just to make sure there's no chance of me getting late, which happened my first day, and I've been apologizing for it ever since. Also, one of my favorite managers came back, which was a great joy to me. Um, he had relocated to another store, and one of the higher ups told him that they preferred, that I guess the other place had too many managers. So I said that was music to my ears. Yeah, he's aware of me and my former friend. So he asked me about her, and I said that plot armor of hers is just, it's really strong. People can, what's the point of jobs even having like rules about showing up late if someone can just come late over and over again? And like, even if they, you know, come 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes late, they can just call in and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to be late today. And they don't get in any trouble. And I've seen it just time and time again. I lost count of how many times she's been late. But again, these people just, they can do whatever they like. That plot armor is strong. Mm. Yeah, it's really sad to me. No, I just know that if I did half the stuff these people do, I'd never hear the end of it. I would be in trouble so fast. And it's hard to look at that stuff and not just feel a sense of frustration. Because for me, I've always felt like if I do something, there's that whole, you did this wrong, you must be accountable. But you see the lack of accountability of the people that work at these places all the time. They come late, they try to get somebody in trouble over something stupid and never have to face any repercussions for doing that. Just a lot of things that rub me the wrong way. Oh, and of course, all the cuts and scrapes that come from being over there. I was there today and I was trying to unclog this sink because ever since they changed the drainage system, or I guess they put in some new, they have some kind of bug where basically you have to empty one by emptying the other, or one will clog up the other because they're both connected through some shared piping. And I've seen one manager who'll put his whole hand down there and just go like this, like almost like turn the hand into a plunger, like when it's stopped up. Um, I put my hand down there to kind of like fiddle with it a little bit, and the blade down there cut me. Um, and I've been feeling it in that finger. And this is the same finger where there was like some kind of, some food type thing that was just hardened on one of the surfaces. And I was trying to peel it off of my fingers, and it was so sharp that it apparently went under my finger. Um, and ever since 2 3 days ago, I've been feeling when I like press down on it, kind of like a pain from just that cutting. I don't know if it was cutting or just how hard it was. Like when you stub your toe in the dark or something. Just it might not be bleeding, but it's not a pleasant feeling either. Yeah, people are really irritating. Mm. There's some really aggravating characters. I saw something moving right there. I thought it was like I guess in the tree next to me. I thought it was maybe like some animal just scaling the area, searching for food. It's funny. I thought that if I had a pillow, it's like under me, I'd feel less discomfort. But no, it's pretty much the same old stuff. I mean, this has been my sole pillow for the last few weeks. I thought that by having it there, I'd feel not as bothered, but it seems to still be the same. Maybe if I lean it up against my back. Like I said, we're in the no chair era, so I haven't been able to. If I want to sit somewhere, it's usually just me having to move stuff on the floor to kind of arrange itself in a certain way, make things not be as unpleasant. Just great. I was actually getting ready to order this one pillow off this site. It was a really nice knitted design, right? Like someone had just taken the time to with yarn just knit it together. And I was like, this looks really nice. About $20, which I figure if you spend $20 once a week, uh surely that's not the end of the world, right? Oh boy, when I put that thing in for shipping, and it went from I think it was 1995 to 32. I said, yeah, no thanks. That's another problem I've had with these places. The cost of shipping has just it's insane. And what's weird is like I'll go on a site such as eBay, and there will be people who will sell me things for pennies on the dollar. I had one person last week who tried to sell me a book with shipping for $7, and it was hard to resist. It really was. I just stared at it, and I went, do I really want this? I do want it, but so many other things to pay for. Da 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 da. Right. But I said, isn't it insane that this book with shipping $7, this pillow with shipping they're over $30. That's crazy. And I was earlier this week actually there was some I think it was like a bag I wanted, and it was the same deal, right? Where the item itself is like a little bit under $20, like 19 something, but then with shipping, it's like $10 or $12. So the shipping increases the price by like 50%. And they don't tell you this until you put it in the cart. So you'll be like, oh, this thing's only $20. It's not that bad. And then you stick it in the cart and it's 30. And you're like, do I want this? Crazy part is that I actually had a pair of pants that when I was at the with my friend, going to go see the movie, we went to, I guess, some bar after that, and I noticed as I was kind of like in this sort of, just like sitting in the stool, that I had like this rip right around here. It wasn't a big rip. It's one where if I'm walking, you can't see it. And I realized that it was these like cats in the neighborhood. When I would like bend down to pet them and, rub on them or whatever, they'll like kind of like climb up on me. And one of them used to put their nail there and just tore into it. And I guess I didn't notice or didn't feel it. Or maybe I did feel it, but didn't think it would like actually make an incision. So I went and ordered a new pair of pants. Must have been 2 days ago, and I was like, wow, if I knew about the pants, right, which are like always, because I haven't bought a pair of pants in a year, like since last year. Um, but if I knew the pants were ripped, I probably wouldn't have bought the bag. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, I did like that pillow. I did really like that pillow, and it does me no joy to know that I'll never be able to lay my head on it. I'll never be able to just rest on its smooth, well done surface. I'll never be able to lay right on top of it and go nighty night. That really depresses me. I don't think I'll be able to live without it. It was so nice looking. I really would have bought it if it hadn't have been for that shipping. And even now, in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I feel a little bit more comfortable, as you continue to work those 4 to 5 days at the job. I might be tempted to, try and get it then. It just depends on how, if, like what the check looks like after this upcoming, you know, week after next week. I like to reward myself sometimes. I feel like the only things I get nowadays are food or gas. And if I get like more than a book a week, or whatever, it's like I'm giving myself too many breaks. But that's one of the reasons why I said, I've always been of the belief that, okay, yeah, you have these bills that you have to pay, etc. Nobody helps you with food or gas, like utilities, right? Nobody cares if you're alive or dead. But in all seriousness, if you work and like you can't use your own money to just get things you enjoy, um, again, it's like where's I don't know. It's just, I guess if I get to a point where the only things I even think of getting are just food or gas, right? It really like internally depresses me to realize that you can't even feign the idea that there is a happy, like, the idea of like uh no pain no gain, where you probably are in pain from your job. I certainly can feel it in this damn finger still, and a little bit in this one, but that's another story. And in spite of how much you're working, the stuff you put up with, the hours you put in, um you really are going to like go broke because you went and bought a book. That's the thing that puts you into economic poverty. Oh, you bought a $30 pillow this month. That's what that's like the death blow for you. Are you serious? I really didn't want that pillow. Well, for me, it's just, because of where I'm situated and how far the job is, I on average have to like pay more in gas than anybody else or most other people probably. So that's like another factor that has me kind of just being reluctant to sort of, go all the way in on some of this stuff. Yeah, it's that rooster outside again. So damn annoying. Every single It's always around like this time too, like during the day when it's like 1, 2, 3 in the afternoon, just totally quiet, right? But when you get to the 3, 4, 5 a.m. period, it's really annoying. But no, I'm just tired of a lot of this stuff. Um, Comment section's been kind of goofy. There was like this one person off a comment yesterday. I was like, I don't even know who you are. You're writing something that I'm just, what is this? No, the cost of shipping is really one of the banes for me as a person who orders stuff online. I guess I've gotten so used to Amazon and eBay, where on Amazon, if you're a Prime member and you order things through Prime, you get shipping, yeah, free, and then like, barring tax, whatever. But like you can get stuff delivered the day after, and just not have a problem with shipping. At least where shipping is like 20, 30, $40 or something. But some of these online retailers, you order something from them and you look at the shipping and it is like I ordered from this one store. Standard shipping is 7 to 10 days, 7 to 9 days. 9.99, right? Almost $10 for shipping. And then if you want it delivered in I think 3 business days, it's like $16, $17. And there's an even bigger shipping that's like 20 something and it's crazy. I said, man, we're really gonna have to sit here and wait a week for a bag. Because every time I get one of these, I'm always able to get it in probably a few days, right? I love these so much. They're real nice to just have on me. They're a good size, comfortable little strap you can put right on your shoulder, and there you go. Anytime I need to carry something, I have to just hold it in my hand. I can just put it in the bag, and we're all set. Mm. No, shipping is the bane of my existence. I can't tell how many times I want to order something and I put it in the cart and I see that price and I'm just like, yeah, I'll pass. And the sad part is they don't realize that they're price is kind of like the actual prices of the things might not be that big of a deal to me, but the prices when you consider um, them added on top of shipping is just nuts. Whenever shipping costs more than the thing you're buying, that's already like a step too far. The only exception I made is that, as I mentioned, that one person was trying to sell me a book for $2 and the shipping made it like seven something. And I still was like, okay, that's really good. For a hardcover book too. I never mentioned this, but I'm not really a fan of soft covers because I think they get dirty really easily or messed up easily. Only time I get a soft cover is if I have to. Um, and when I say that, it means like there's some old book that's had a new edition where it's only soft cover. But there's a lot of stuff I'm noticing with books that I didn't notice before. Like I said before, a lot of biographies should be multiple volumes, right? Just a person lives a long life or does a lot of things. You just can't put all in one book. Um, like when was getting serious about doing the Nixon documentary, it never occurred to me to just only use one book, Comrade Black's book, for example. I was like, I have to get something that is at least two volumes, right? Long career, etc. And that was the impetus for me using, or at least using volume one. I'll probably go out and get volume two if I finish up part four of Nixon, which sounds so far away, so far away. Mm. I don't know, I'm just debating what it'll look like if I get that pillow. It's probably gonna be another one of those things where, like at the present moment, I'm like, I don't think I can get this. I don't think I can get this. And then as give it a month, 2 months, I'm like, yeah, I'll get it, whatever. It is nice looking, and I do think it'd be fun to have. I don't know. It's just there's always that reluctance. That's one of the reasons why I said I do envy a lot of my coworkers that just I know for a fact live with their parents or some other person that takes care of them because it's got to be real. Like I mentioned, I've never had a job more than a month before this place, and it's been like the same, like no one assists you with anything type crap over the last 23 months. And I said, it has to be really nice having a steady income and not having to just worry about your survival. Like having people that are there who are like, okay, I'm glad you're making some money, you can, whatever you want to do with it. Just as long as you're working, right? I am envious because I never had that. I had, again, like jobs where you work there for like 2 weeks, then they start threatening you. If you don't improve by this much next time, we're gonna let you go. So it was always just, okay, here's this little thing that we'll do for a few weeks before they terminate me for whatever reason. Come up with anything. Oh, you didn't smile at enough customers, or somebody wrote something about you on the website, or you're left-handed, or whether just all types of weird stuff that would happen. Mm. Like I said, that played a direct role in me kind of having the agnostic position I had about these jobs, where it was just like you accept anywhere you work will get rid of you after X amount of time, a few days, a few weeks. Just you're used to it. But so far, they have surprised me in how reluctant they seem to be ready to cut the umbilical cord. So that is one pleasant surprise. Like I said, I try as hard as I can, and if these jobs aren't gonna ever notice that, it's not my responsibility. Um, a lot of these places are not appreciative of the people that work for them, and that's been made very apparent to me with some of the choices that they make and the things that they do and the practices they engage in. And I do see little nuggets of appreciation. Somebody will say, "Thank you. Oh, good job on this," or "Great job, guys," or something to that effect. But it is a real point of curiosity for me to see the coworkers that just come there and like they do whatever little stuff they're told to do for 3, 4, 5 hours, and then they go home and they get picked up by somebody, and they live in the area, so you don't have to drive 20, 30 miles just to come over there, right? I just wonder how that would be. Because I had both of the jobs I had and had the whole like hire to fire thing happen with, they were right next to me. Like not one of them more so than the other, but both of them were in walking distance of my house. And that's why it drives me nuts to like the place that keeps you the longest, of course, would be the one that is furthest away from you, you know? It's like, why am I not surprised? I think it still would be not the worst idea to pursue trying to get something else. Uh, and again, the biggest issue is just the fluctuating hours. Like this week, we're going to have you Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Next week, we're going to have you Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. Like just because that makes it to where the only time I can offer it to another employer I'm available is just, oh yeah, the weekends. Or and it's not even like, oh, the full weekend. Like, no, no, it's like all Saturday and then maybe Sunday morning possibly, which it's just but you get the idea. It's funny because it makes it sound like the other job is just using me so much and they just can't let go of me. But in truth, you say I'm only available this one day or these 2 days because the other one, they might schedule you that day this week or not schedule that day the other. I was like, I find that so interesting where you can have a job that just it cannot decide when it wants you. Like you're gonna come back there a few times next week, yeah, but uh good luck figuring out how much we want this person. They're always switching and shifting, and this is them just they can't decide. I remember that one Saturday where I worked, so I could like, oh, I can make some more money, right? Work Saturday and Sunday, and right the Saturday I worked, they deleted me off the schedule the next day. I was it was just the literal perfect example of one step forward, one step back. I said, "Man, you can't win with these places, I tell you." God, it's incredible how just you can have employees. "Hey, wanna work this week?" "Yeah, sure." When you gonna let me work?" "Maybe next Saturday, maybe next Sunday, maybe next Monday." "Okay, is it gonna be each day in the afternoon?" "Maybe on Sunday it'll be in the morning. Maybe on Monday it'll be in the afternoon. Maybe on Tuesday it will be in the evening." I mean, it's all over the place, like there's no consistency to be had. It's really sad. And that's why I was so reluctant to pursue trying to get another job because what do you tell another employer? "Hey, I might be available Monday next week. Hey, I might be available Tuesday next week." You see how like it's the domino effect where one place can't decide if they want to use you, how often they want to use you. So it makes it to where other places that probably would give you 40 hours a week would be more consistent in terms of okay, you show up this time, Monday through Friday. You're like trying to have one foot in the door. Because I said before, with the real thing that keeps me from just pulling the plug is again just the fact that I've been retained for this long, which has never happened before. Um, So, you kind of don't want to run the risk of leaving there and then the next place you work does the hire to fire thing and then you're, "Oh, here we go again." It's just not a thing I'd like to play around with too much. Mm. Mm. Man, it's always so crazy just thinking about time zones and who's up and who isn't. Before my former associate said that our conversations had reached a stale point of disinterest. I remember that she would be up late at night, I'd be up late at night, and that would kind of like correspond with the other person's. I think we had an 8 hour time difference, 10 hour time difference. So, you know, three in the morning for me was like two in the afternoon for her, or one afternoon. We would, it was just always interesting because it's like because one person stays up so damn late, um, and the other one's just up during like whatever time you'd expect people to be up. It made it to where they're like it still worked. Both people could still speak to the other one. Um, that's why I said I just really despise that she destroyed that because she was pleasant to speak to when she was trying. After a while, she started doing her whole little routine of saying nothing and just sitting there, which disgusted and annoyed me because it's like, first of all, the whole thing is just so dumb. But no, I've started actually noticing a trend where I have like a few people I speak to, but if I can't speak to one of them, in all seriousness, I probably would prefer just not talking to anyone. There was a VC that was in that same server where we've been noticing most of the circus animals coming out of, and It was a guy I liked to talk to and about maybe 4 or 5 other people, and he was playing some game, like, on just in the while he's in the call, and this person keeps going, "Meow, meow, meow," and he does this must be 7, 8, 9 times to where one of the other people is like, "Hey, can you stop?" I'm like and I said that's where I interject, I'm like, "Yeah, this is getting kind of annoying," or just I was like, "This is just annoying," and I just disconnected from the call, I just didn't wanna hear it anymore. Like, you have one person playing the game, and they're, screaming, raging, doing all the stuff you expect for someone who's playing a game and probably not being successful at it to be doing. But again, it's stuff I expect from someone who's playing it and, just whatever, reactions. And then this other person who just keeps repeating ad nauseum, "Meow, meow." Just imagine, like, again, person who's not even talking to the people in the call with, and then some other person just making animal noise, like the same animal noise over and over again. So yeah, when I heard that meow over and over and over, must be 8, 9 times, I just left the call. I like for the rest of the night, I just sat with some video playing in the background, didn't even try like joining any more calls. Like, this is stupid. And it's like that guy really thought that was funny. Like, just sitting in a group call with people where they're not even talking to each other outside of like one person playing the game, other ones might say something or make a comment about him raging like a madman. And then another one is just making animal noises. And this is what goes for just like I was in a VC, must be 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, where there was a guy who came in there trying to ask people if they want to play some game with him, and they said no. Like they as a group, we as a group collectively said no. And you would think that'd be the end of it, but then he joins the call again and he starts arguing with somebody else. And he has this like mic that I think he was like halfway trolling because the mic quality got worse as the call went on. But it got to a point where I had him muted and there was another guy in the call and he's like, how did I disrespect you? 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 How did I disrespect? And he just repeats this over, and I can't even hear what the other guy is saying. And I'm just like, man, this is again just another example of why I would truly rather be by myself. Like they don't even try to have a decent conversation or talk in a pleasant way or say something interesting. Like I mentioned, I joined one call and there was a guy who because I was talking about there was like some girl that had a server that was open to the public, and I joined it, and then she kicked me out of it, and I was like, that's kind of weird to have a server that is open to everyone, but then get rid of people that join. Maybe she just didn't blank with you, and he tried to say I was harping on it, even though it's something that I just mentioned in passing is like just something I thought was weird. That probably if I'm left uninterrupted and without pushback, I would have finished in terms of me talking about it in less than 2 minutes, but he tries to say I was harping on it, and I was like, isn't it crazy? You join these calls, and in these calls, these people are really not speaking about anything in particular. They're just kind of sitting here, you know, laying about, right? Just sitting in these calls, not really saying anything in particular. And when you raise a topic, whether it's one that somebody finds interesting or not, you raise a topic and this other person who is not trying to in any way like say something interesting or really even anything at all, they're going to tell you that what you're saying is not important and why are we talking about this and what's the big deal and get over it. And it's just like, again, if you were so good at saying something that was interesting, you would do that. Oh, these people are out of their minds. But no, these calls get so boring or so just dead of any intellectual thought. I just would rather sit alone, sit in silence, sit by myself. Like some of these calls are the equivalent of a person, let's say, just having no one to talk to, and they go outside and they see somebody just walking in a circle, just muttering to themselves, "I'm so sick of all these things. I'm just so tired of this." And they see this person just doing this for like an hour, for like, or maybe at least like 10 minutes before they're like, you know what, let me just go just go pace next to them. Just put my ear to hear them as they're pacing around in this circle talking to themselves as they mutter. Like that's what these calls are, where you ask yourself, is it really better to be with people than alone when again they're not discussing anything constructive. They're not saying anything interesting. Every now and again somebody might say something that I'll think is funny, but again it's like most of these calls are the same thing. They just join, like you join it, a person is screaming about some video game. There'll be that one person that's trying to like get something started, the rest aren't really that receptive receptive, and I just get bored really quickly. I'm like, okay, this is not interesting. You come in there, and so, and it's not even like, oh, it's just like two people, right? So of course they might have dead air between them. You'll have calls where it's seven, eight, nine people, and none of them are really saying anything interesting. Are really like are barely even talking. They just are sitting there, just either that or in dead silence. And these are the people you're supposed to want to sit there and talk to and speak. Man, forget that. Sites just get more and more boring. It's not even the sites, it's the people on them. It's funny, they make certain servers where you can only have like a certain number of people in the VC, like 15 or 30 or whatever. And the idea is that you want to stop the call from getting too crowded before it just becomes like a bunch of noise, right? Just being spouted off from every corner. But in all seriousness, some of these calls can have just like three people in there and it'll get ridiculous where it's the same two, three talking. Everybody else just sits there barely saying anything, or if they try to say something, they get cut off by the other one. It's lousy. No, I've been noticing that at this point, Discord probably is my second most used site, like besides YouTube, because I haven't been on Twitter in a while. I don't even DM anybody anymore. What's the point? I have one person who still sends me DMs. I guess they haven't gotten the memo that I'm like retired from the site. Um, but yeah, it's mostly just been here and Discord, and even with Discord, it's like getting to a point where I'm getting less and less enthusiastic about even like I'll still be logged in, right, just to see things. There'll be that one person occasionally that responds back to me after however many days or weeks or months. But in terms of just, oh yeah, here's this person that I am uh, seeing online and tempted to try talking to, and I'm good. Like right now, I would rather be doing this stream for all intensive purposes, talking to myself than sitting in one of those calls for even 10 minutes with those people because they're just not interesting. Every call is the same thing. So I don't even bother. I'm sure the dummy from the Discord video will be in there. She likes to come there on the weekend, but I'll make sure that I don't join any calls with her because, like I said, when people want you to be their enemy, they'll make you their enemy. And when it comes to her, I know what I'm dealing with. She's been red all the way through. But yeah, in the future, I'll just, I guess what I'll always do is probably just look and see, right, who's in there, who's in that call. Join it for probably, it could be a few seconds, could be a minute. Just get a preview of the conversation, right? And then after being in there for a minute, just get out. Get out, don't come back unless the group radically changes where it's like not even recognizable, which does happen sometimes where one person will jump out and then like five others will, and just it'll be like a real quick rapid transformation from like, oh, this many people, that many people. But after, if that happens, just stay away. Like, don't even get tempted to go back in there because now you again, you observed it, didn't think it was interesting. One or two other people probably isn't going to shake things up too much. So as this stuff gets boring. I'm looking at the roster right now. They have this one guy I spoke to like one time. He was okay. He's got his mic muted. Some other person never seen before. Um, these two people that I think are a couple. I never spoke to the guy before, but I was in one of the VCs with the girl, the woman who has a picture of her chest as her like, what do you call that picture? It's like when you click somebody's profile and they have nitro, you can see their image or whatever. Yeah, her preferred image is one of her chests, so that already lets us know what she's about, probably. But again, it's like I look at that roster and I have no interest in being a part of that. And this is just becoming a more and more constant thing that I'm noticing and seeing. People are in these servers. I look and see who's there, right? Do some squinting. And after seeing a VC, that's kind of lame. That's not that interesting. That has me going, well, okay, well, I guess I can go. It's sad. I can't wait to go in this server and talk to people. And then you join the call and like barely anyone's talking. And if someone is talking, they're yelling at their game or they're getting into an argument with somebody else over something. Just go. Like just get out. Turn this stupid thing off. It's just so lame, man. That's why I said when that girl said I was like our conversation really boring state of disinterest. I said, if observing the calls that she has joined in my presence, if to her that's interesting, then I really don't know what else to tell you. And that's what I find so funny about it. It's like maybe I could believe I was this extremely boring person if the people on that site were not boring me, were not just like constantly showing their own, you know, lack of appeal, so to speak. That's just how these people are. They'll attack you over something, and oftentimes they aren't even the thing that they claim to, be criticizing you for. But yeah, I think we've reached the apex of the stream. Um, because I am a little tired, which is usually the way this goes. See, I always hope that if I get off at like 9 or 10, right, I can go and get a little bit of sleep. But I always remember those Saturdays where I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna get a little bit of rest, right? And then I wake up and it's like 7, 8, 9 in the morning, and I can't. That means I definitely can't stream because other people are now. Of course, that doesn't happen now, but that's always the thing that I'm reminded of. Where it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stream, yeah, and then so yeah, I'll probably be back on Tuesday because I work again on Monday. But thanks for watching and have a good rest of your weekend. And beware of boring calls because they will put you to sleep and not in a fun way. Oh, and shipping costs; those are also a killer.